Hello, and welcome back to Let's Play Planescape Torment with me, BringItDon. Alright, so we have some more people to talk to. We're going to start with Alice here, or Ali. We're going to work our way around the bar, probably this way. We'll talk to Dak'kon, hopefully this episode as well. You see a trim, muscular man dressed in clothing that is comparatively drab and mundane compared to most of the outfits you've seen in this city. He carries himself with an air of supercilious arrogance? Supercilious? Alright. I've never seen that word before. He also looks dramatically out of place here. What do you want, he asks. Who are you? I am Ali, warrior of renown. Surely you have heard of me. No, I have not. Can it truly be? Can it truly be none in this town have heard of me or my exploits? Alas, I shall have to prove myself all over again. And here I thought my fame had spread across the world. What world are you from? I come from the city of Aliburn on the River Tame. Surely you have heard of its glories and wonders. No matter, no matter. This place is benighted and ignorant when it comes to the splendors of true cities. I am told that my land is what is called a prime by the denizens of this city, though a prime of what, I don't know. How did you get here? I was chasing my old foe, the villainous life-shade Tyr Tenelel. He pauses, waiting for acknowledgement, and then continues. He conjured his demonic magic and opened himself a doorway, and hurled himself through it. Before he could flee me entirely, I threw myself after him, and found myself here. I get it, you're one of the clueless. What? He bristles, reddening, and his hand clutches convulsively around the hilt of his sword. Clueless, is it? I take offense to your words, sirrah, and I bid you farewell in the hopes that we should never cross paths again. He turns away from you, still flushed with pride and rage. I just wanted to ask you some questions. He sighs heavily and eyes you with disdain. Then be on with it, scarred one. Ask and be done. Who are the patrons of this tavern? The only person I know here is Ebb there. I am new to this place, and I do not make it my business to meddle in the affairs of others. Do you have any further questions for me, or may I continue to enjoy my solitude? Alright, more questions. What can you tell me about this place? This is a tavern, one of the familiar sights of home. At least it would be were it not for the fiendlings in the corner and the endless strangeness that parades before my eyes. I find that at least there is some humanity in this place, for which I am grateful. You're a prime, aren't you? If you mean that I am from the true world by that, then yes, I am a prime. I am a warrior of some small renown there, and while I may not know all the loopholes of this new land, neither would I call myself clueless, as some of the local varlets around here have done. No? Alright, let's just call off the insult, shall we? Call it even? Not until you apologize, villain. He looks like he's just spoiling for a fight. Or shall I provoke you more? Very well then, I apologize. Then I suppose, as a point of honor, I must accept your apology. Very well. In return, I offer my apology as well. Let us set the matter aside and speak no more of it. Alright, more questions. Oops. No more questions, come back. From your attitude, it appears to me you need nothing further from me, and it would please me greatly if you would not trouble my presence with yours. Good day. He turns stiffly away from you. Look, I apologize for what I said to you before. I just need some questions answered. You have said what you have said, and I have taken it to heart. Yet never let it be said I am entirely rigid. What would you ask of me? I'd like to apologize to you. Alright, I thought I already did this, but sure. He appears entirely shocked, as if the notion of apologies is alien to him. You wish to apologize? That's what I said. Okay. Well, we've already... Alright, well that was...
I'm gone.
Oh. Alright, let's talk to... Ilquix. You see a short, rotund man with a perplexed expression on his face. From the lines on his loose skin, it looks like it's not too uncommon. He carries a flagon of ale that looks like it's in the process of being emptied, rapidly. In between swallows, he speaks in a gentle voice, so quiet that you can barely hear his words. Hello, traveler. My name is Ilquix. Or Ilki. Can I be of some assistance to you? Greetings. I'd like to ask you some questions. What did you want to know, my friend? Who are you? Who exactly are you? I am but a humble man with a slight flowery, poetical bent and a tendency toward the supernatural. I regret that I have none of my supplies here, or I'd be most eager to teach you of the ways of power. Perhaps some later time. Yes, I'd like that. For now, other questions. What can you tell me about this place? This place, the Smoldering Corpse Tavern? A fine establishment with a fine odor. Barkus is a true gentleman and ambitious to increase his standing to boot. These, I feel, are the most useful qualities one can possess. They drive people. More questions. What can you tell me about the patrons of this place? The patrons of this tavern are many and varied. I've spoken with most and find them delightful, with the exception of those creatures of law. He gestures toward the pair of Abishai sitting in the corner. They taint the air with their presence, lending an unwholesome stench to an otherwise pleasant environment. I recommend speaking to Barkus. I understand he requires some aid with a trifling matter. Then we have that O character. I'm still trying to understand him fully. It is quite an undertaking, if I say so myself. Those are the folk of interest here. The others, well, perhaps I am too discriminating. Why do you despise creatures of law? Fine question, my friend. My upbringing has been on the chaotic side of the Great Ring. You may speak to Kandrian Ilborn, a misnomer if I ever heard one, of the plains. He fancies himself a great planewalker. To return from my digression, I have lived my many years with chaos and find it pleasantly agreeable. To me, the taint of law, as in those creatures there, is reprehensible and tyrannical. If I am to be crushed underfoot, I'd rather it be by an individual than a machine that knows nothing of emotion. Yeah, I disagree. Ilquick smile, or Ilki, I think I'm gonna say Ilki, smiles toothily, his fat cheeks barely moving. To each his own, I say. Did you have some more questions? Yes. Who's that Burning Man? That? Ha! That is the last unfortunate who chose to exercise his individual will without the strength to back up his desires. His name is Ignis, and he was a pyromaniac. He burned and didn't burn the right people, and wound up channeling more raw power than he could control. Now, well, you can see what became of him. If you wish to learn more of him, perhaps that poor creature Drusilla can help you. Okay, well... Alright, Barkus. You see a leather-skinned man with just a hint of ashen color to his face. His teeth seem sharper than normal, and his eyes are filled with the boredom that comes with having seen too much. His voice is nasal and clipped. You again, huh? What do you want this time? You again? What do you mean? Yeah, you again. You got a hearing problem or something now? You was in here about 15 years ago, got all bubbed up, smashed up the place, and left a pile of coin that wasn't enough to pay for the damages. So you plucked out your own bleeding eyeball and tells me you'll be back to reclaim it when you got 200 coins together. With 15 years of interest, you got about 500 coins. You got the jink, pal? I got your eye. That's ridiculous. 500, that's ridiculous. He pauses for a moment, considering. That it is. Tell you what. Give me 300 and the eye is yours. It's a deal. Here's your money. It's a deal. He produces a darkened, wax-stoppered, wide-mouthed bottle from his pocket. You hear the sound of liquid sloshing around inside it, along with a heavier, squishier noise. Opening it, the stench of some sort of preservative agent nearly makes you gag. Floating in the viscid muck is an eyeball. You better figure out what you want to do with that. Now you've exposed it to the air, you might as well put a pickled egg in the jar for all the good it'll do you. Make up your mind, Cutter. Pickled egg or not. Tear out your eyeball and place this one in the socket. Okay. With a moment's hesitation, you reach into your socket and pop your eye into the palm of your hand. The bartender helpfully severs the optic nerve and directs your hand to the jar of goo that sits on the bar. You deposit your eye in the preservative, wrap your fingers around the old one, and slide it into your empty socket. The pain of this entire operation is incredible. After a moment, though, you can feel the optic nerve reattaching itself to this new eye, and suddenly you're hit by a flash of memory. Absorb it. Memory flash. A vast expanse of chaotic, ever-changing wasteland stretching before you, a group of humanoid vultures plummeting toward you, cruel weapons ready to strike, and your own shining blade clutched tight in your fist. 3 tufts surround you, in the colors of an enemy you can't quite place. Long daggers glisten in their hands, and the light glints cruelly from their exposed teeth. You glance at your scarred hands and know that they'll soon be covered in blood. An enormous frog-like creature comes bounding over through under chaos stuff, heading for you with a mouthful of teeth. You hurry your javelin through the shifting matter and pin the creature to a sudden stone plinth. You recalled some of your lost fighting skills. Interesting. Okay, ask more questions of Barkus. Proficiency points increased permanently. Okay, hurry it up, will you? I got paying customers. Who are you? Me? I'm Barkus, owner and keeper of this place. What is this place? Did you see the sign out front? Did you see the Burke burning over this furnace when you came in? It's the Smoldering Corpse Cutter. Best darn bub house in Sigil. At least it's the best darn bub house in this part of the hive, which makes it the best which makes it one of the best in Sigil. Hell, they got fancy places with plants and such in the ladies' ward, and they got fiendish taverns salted around the rest of the hive. None of them got the character of the Smoldering Corpse. But who is the corpse anyway? Him? Ignis. He used to be a flame wizard, burned down pieces of the hive, and got himself scragged by a bunch of other mages. You want to know more about him, talk to Drusilla down there by the door. Alright, let's see, more questions. What can you tell me of the patrons here? I don't make it a point to interfere with the lives of the people who give me their hard-earned jink unless they ask me to. So, over there is Kandrian, Planewalker. He's a good one to talk to about any planewalking questions you might have. He's in pretty much everywhere. Down there is Ebb Creeknees, an old harmonium basher. Don't hold that against him, and a tout. He's got a good heart in him, and he knows Sigil up and down. The fiends over there are Aethelgrin and Tegarin. Word of advice, don't deal with them. That'd be low rankers in the fiend hierarchy, but they're still fiends. Then you got Ilki over there, not trustworthy, and some mercy killers looking for some poor son. Dak'kon the Githzerai is a mystery to me. Don't know much about him. He don't talk much. Finally, you interested in earning some free bub? Yeah. There's a bub over there against the far wall hanging about in the shadows, who's been trying to work up her courage to slip out without covering her tab. I want you to make sure she don't do that. You do it, you get free bub here for life. Well, that's interesting. Because isn't he trying to prevent someone getting free bub? Whatever. I'll do it. Answer me some questions first. I want something to drink. What do you want? We got our basic beer for a copper, the bitters for 2, mead for 4. We got water straight from the elemental plane for 8 copper. We got Arborean fire wine and fire seeds for 10. Cursed heart wine for 8, and Bador's own whiskey for 20. What do you have? Let's get some mead. You quaff it, the weak drink. The flavor isn't exactly bold, but it's filling and it's alcoholic. It doesn't seem to do anything else for you. Alright, let's see. We talk to him again. I'm looking for Farod the Collector. He turns and spits on the floor. Farod? Pah. May as well just turn you back and let him sink a dagger in it. Then from the looks of you, you already have. If you're dead set on finding Farod, pardon the pun, talk to Ebb the Creeknees over there. He should know something of value. Alright. So I should have leveled up there, right? I wonder if I would have died if I didn't have the, if I didn't have enough health for that operation. Because I was at full health when I came in here, or when I started the episode. Did I talk to Ebb about Farod? Do you know someone named Farod? Farod? Ebb frowns, takes the pipe from his mouth. Now, lad, what you be wanting with a Burke like Farod? I think he stole some of my belongings. Oh, no doubt, lad, no doubt. Ebb grumbles, chewing on his pipe. You had to chain up everything around that grasping little spider. He should have been one of the fated... Oops. Messed up. He should have been one of the fated the way anything not chained down slips into his parlor. Don't give him a yard or he'll take a league, eh? What do you know about him? Well, now, I don't know everything there is to know about old Farod, but I know some of the dark surrounding him. Or some of the dark surrounding him. If you're determined to track down that spider and nail him to a wall, then I suppose I could spill some of the chance so you know what you're detangling with. He pauses to tamp his pipe. Farod dug his nest deep in Ragpicker's Square not too long ago. Got a bunch of collectors and gangs together and started what one could almost consider a collecting faction. Be that as it may. Where can I find him? Well, lad, if you're looking for Farod, which I would say is pretty barmy of you, you're a little off the beaten path. You ought to be finding Ragpicker's Square. Chan is that Farod set up his kips somewhere in the square. Even an old fellow like me who's been around the ring a few times don't know exactly where. I figure that Farod wants to keep the dark on his location dark. If you're all bound and determined to find Farod, go to Ragpicker's Square and try and dig up Farod's location from some of the locals. Try and be careful about it, since there's plenty in the square that would make a gut harp out of you as soon as look at you. Alright. No, we already knew he was in Ragpicker's Square, so that's not news. Alright, Dak'kon, let's talk. Alright, so I had to take a sip of my coffee to prepare for this conversation. The man before you is old. His dry yellow skin has the scars of one who has traveled everywhere and never rested long in any one place. His pinched face is inhumanly angular, and his ears sweep out from his skull, tapering to points. He wears a loose-fitting orange tunic, and a strange shimmering blade is strapped across his back. The blade looks to be a two-pronged glaive made of some metal whose surface swirls like a film of oil on a pond. Greetings. The man turns to you, his eyes like polished coal. He stares through you, and for a moment you wonder if he might be blind. The weapon suddenly turns a dead, flat black, mirroring the man's eyes. Are you alright?
Hail, traveler.
He says nothing for a moment, merely searches your face with his eyes. He says, "Hail, traveler." His voice is quiet and somber, like a wind whispering through the branches of a great tree. Hail.
Your eyes have the weight of one who has traveled far to be in this place.
The man meets your gaze, his eyes burrowing into yours. His weapon drains of its black color, resuming shimmering you noticed before you spoke to him. Yeah, you could say that. The man's gaze does not waver from yours. I am known as Dak'kon. The emphasis he places on the word known strikes you as odd, yet familiar at the same time. You are not known to me. I do not know myself. That's for the best, and knowing yourself, there'd be little in the plains left worth knowing. He falls silent for a moment, still studying you with his coal black eyes. I would know why you've come to this city. I'm looking for answers. I have many questions. Speak your questions, I will hear you. Your features are unfamiliar to me. What are you? A Githzerai. A Githzerai? Zerai? A Githzerai is one of the people. One of the people? Githzerai. Okay. Yes, but what are the Githzerai exactly? Dak'kon is silent for a moment, then speaks. A history does not need to be made known to you. We would bleed to death on Time's blade before I recited a fraction of the histories of our people. I don't need to know your histories, but I would know of your people as they are now. Dak'kon is silent for a moment. Know this and accept it as an answer. We're the people who make our home upon the shifting plane of limbo. With a deft motion, Dak'kon slips the blade from his back and holds it before him. Wait and see what happens. There we mold the matter of limbo with our minds. We forge cities with our thoughts. As you watch, a series of rippling waves of metal begin to roll forth from the center of the blade. The pitch and crest of the waves matches the inflections in Dak'kon's voice. In its chaos we dwell, with only our knowing to preserve us. We are the Githzerai. What is that blade you have? It moved, shifted in response to your voice. It is a Karak blade. It is an object that lets others know the rank of the wielder. Karak, what does that mean? Dak'kon falls silent for a moment, as if searching for the correct words. In your tongue, the closest translation is chaos matter. The people may shape it with their thoughts. Shape it with their thoughts? Karak is not shaped by heat, but by knowing oneself. It is a mirror that reflects the will of the wielder on its surface and in its edge. When one knows himself, the blade is strong, harder and stronger than steel. When one does not know themselves, the blade is as water, formless and weak. What rank does the blade signify? Are you willing to sell it? It would become as nothing in the hands of another. The blade knows my mind, and I know its heart. We die the same death. Can you tell me about this city? It is known by the name Sigil. Among the people, it is known as a city that does not know itself. It doesn't know itself? What do you mean? The city exists, but it does not know itself. And not knowing itself, its existence is flawed. How is it flawed? The city exists in opposition to itself. It has set itself apart from the planes, yet it seeks to be everywhere at once. Its walls are doors, yet it keeps these doors locked. Such an existence tells of a thing that does not know itself, and not knowing itself, it is flawed. When you say the city is everywhere at once, what do you mean? The city itself is built from doors. These doors lead everywhere. Where are these doors? They're everywhere. Dak'kon falls silent for a moment. It is said that every bounded space within the city is a door that leads elsewhere. Why'd you say this city is flawed again? Yeah, what if the city is not flawed? A thing does not need to be ordered and have a purpose to know itself. What if these contradictions are strengths that you cannot see? To your question, a question. What if the city is flawed and you see its contradictions all around you? Alright, to your question, a question. You claim this city's existence is flawed. You have accepted this rather than explore the possibility that something greater may exist. That suggests you are flawed and that you do not search for knowledge, but only for a convenient answer. Dak'kon falls silent. There's no knowing the answer to the questions we have asked, yet the city exists. That is all. Yet I would maintain that we know ourselves by the questions we ask and the ones we do not. If we cease asking questions and accept that only and accept only what we can perceive. Then we will cease to know ourselves. Dak'kon's voice has changed slightly, becoming heavier. Such words have been spoken before. I have heard them and know them. Where have you heard them? The words are mine. Once I knew them and knew their meaning. I have forgotten them until you spoke. Dak'kon's gaze travels through you, and his blade stops shimmering, bleeding of all color until it is translucent. There is a moment of silence, then Dak'kon looks up at you. I would travel your path with you. I accept. An extra blade would be welcome.
Your path is mine.
Strangely enough, his voice seems distant, and it echoes as if he were speaking from across a great distance. Alright, very well, let's go.
I feel stronger.
In
achievement.
enduring, grow strong.
The achievement is called Endure, and Enduring Grows Strong.
I hear your words.
So we should be able to talk to him.
I will hear you.
Alright, so he has 3 spells. And he has the Unbroken Circle of Zerthaman. He also has a Whispering Flask, which I have another one that I'm going to give to him. I don't need this.
I cannot part with that.
Alright, so the Unbroken Circle of Zerthaman. This item's pretty important for Dak'kon here. It improves Dak'kon. So we're going to go through this, and as we improve it, we should also have conversation options with him.
Balance in all things. What is your will?
Okay, Dak'kon turns to you, his eyes like polished coal. His blade mirrors his eyes for a moment as you address him, then he nods. What is your will? The things I would know, Dak'kon. I will hear you. Alright, I want to ask you about our travels. Do you know a man named Farad? That one is not known to me, okay. Actually, let's talk to Mort as well. We haven't talked to him yet.
New, Chief.
You said you're a Mimir, right, Mort? Yeah, a Mimir is a floating encyclopedia. You put information in, you get information out. Okay. Which is based on the Norse giant? In Nordic mythology, Mimir was, I think he's a giant. Basically, I think he knew everything. Anyway, how'd you die, Mort? No idea, Chief. I kind of forgot when I died. Can't say I blame myself much. At least there was something waiting for me after I died. Even if it is life as a floating skull. I mean, it could have been worse. What happened to your body? I don't know, alright? It's just gone. Mort glares at you. I don't think I miss it, because I'm happy just the way I am, and I don't need your half-wit judgments or snide remarks, alright? Yeah, Mort, I don't mind you tagging along, but is there anything else you can do except chatter? Hey, chattering's my best trait. He rattles his teeth for a moment, then grins. Eh? Eh? Oh, that's good to hear. No, but seriously, Chief, I got a knack for chattering in just the right way. I can really bend an ear, if you know what I'm saying. I got insults, backtalk, stuff that'll curl someone's ears into their skull, you know? Huh, how's that useful? It's one of my many talents. I call it my litany of curses. You see, sometimes I can really bend someone's ear with just the right comment. Of course, then I usually have to do a lot of running afterwards. But you get the idea. How does it work?
Updated my journal.
Well, I can spit insults at someone until they get mad enough to chase me around. Yeah, Mort has an ability called Litany of Curses. It's a non-magical taunt. If the target fails to resist it, they suffer a penalty to their armor class, attacks, and will do nothing but try to engage Mort in melee combat. Note that the more insults Mort hears, the better his Litany of Curses has become. The Litany of Curses is very effective against mages. Okay, so I think if I talk to him...
What is your will?
Things I would know, Dak'kon. More about the Githzerai. Other questions? Can I talk? I don't want to talk about his teachings yet because that has to do with his Unbroken Circle of Zerthaman. Alright, so this small round stone is the Unbroken Circle of Zerthaman. The Unbroken Circle is a Zerth religious text containing teachings of Zerthaman, the founder of the Githzerai people. The circle is made up of a series of interlocking circles that fold out from one another, depending on which branch the reader wishes to follow in the path of teachings. It is said that some Zerths spend years poring over the combinations of the plates, looking for new significance in the teachings. Dak'kon seems to use the text as a means of focusing his spellcasting abilities, for he pores over the tablet occasionally, memorizing the words. And his Earth Blade levels up with him, and he also, depending on his alignment, it gets different abilities. I think if he's more lawful or good, he can cast more spells, and if he's more chaotic, it makes him a better fighter. So on the Githzerai home plane of Limbo, solid matter is something of a rarity. Limbo itself is a soupy mass of elements, and only through force of will can the Githzerai shape these elements into stable matter. A substance called Karak is a material that can be shaped with the mind. Dak'kon's blade is composed of this substance. Through mental discipline alone, Dak'kon maintains the integrity of the blade. He can shape it slightly depending on his skill, adjusting its length, sharpness of the edge. Presumably as he gains level, he may be able to manipulate the blade in new ways. It does not know whether all Githzerai Zerth carries such weapons. Certainly a weapon that depends on the integrity of the wielder would be entrusted only to those who had learned to discipline themselves. This blade appears to have a special religious significance for Dak'kon. Dak'kon has wound a series of parchments around the hilt of the blade. These appear to be mantras dedicated to Zerthimon. So right now it's 2-9 slashing, +1 armor class, and +1 to Thaco. 7 speed, weight 5, yeah. Anyway. So we can actually use this ourselves. This small brown stone appears to be a religious text that Dak'kon carries. It is made up of... Okay. Wait, can I not use it yet?
I cannot part with that.
I thought I could use it.
I'm gone.
But I guess I can't yet, and that's fine. I thought he could teach me how to be a mage, because I thought he's like a hybrid. He's the only character in the game that levels as a mage and a fighter at the same time. No other class, no other character could be multiple classes at once. What level am I? Our proficiency slots gained, fighting skills improved, 6 hit points gained, and 1 characteristic point. Probably charisma. I could do wisdom. Let's do charisma here. What level am I? Level 6. Alright. As long as I don't hit level 7, I'll be fine. So I think she's the one that's trying to leave without the, Yeah, here we go. Parker says it's time for you to study your tab. Pay up. She jumps a little, and her nervous tension becomes full-fledged anxiety. What are you going to do? Ask you to pay up. Now. I can't afford it. He spot me just 10%. I'll, give it to him and he knows I'll pay the rest. How much do you need? I think I need about 100 coins to get started on that debt. I'll lend you the money. Here, take it and pay up. Now. She pockets your jink, glances briefly towards the door, almost as if she's weighing her chances of dashing out. Sighs heavily as she realizes there's no chance, and begins to walk glumly towards the bar. My thanks, I suppose. Don't mention it. Don't even think about heading for the door until you've paid up. Okay.
I'm gone.
So let's talk to O. So I don't know anything about O. You see a man standing rock still. He isn't moving a muscle. On closer examination, it appears that he isn't even breathing, just standing. His eye sockets are empty holes in his face. Contained within their bounds is a flat gray light that seems to dance with possibility. Looking into the sockets, the eerie, empty feeling of a limitless void shivers through you, as if you had gazed into a sliver of eternity. The head slowly swivels toward you. You notice that no muscles appear to move under his skin as he turns, and he speaks in a pure, bell-like tone. Well met, wanderer. You have forgotten again, haven't you? Do you know me, stranger? As he opens his mouth, you get the feeling of eternity again. Inside his mouth, you see no tongue, no teeth. It's almost as if this man were a shell surrounding an illimitable expanse. I've spoken with you before, and always you forget. You're on this quest to discover yourself, Your endless quest to discover yourself ends always in your amnesia. You draw close to the truth and recoil. Let us hope that you have the strength to endure your existence. What do you know of me? How do you know this? I know that you, like a fly, rise up from the wreckage of your old shell, buzz about for a time, and curl up and die at the window of truth. You bumble about the pain, seeking the light without any plan to your actions, and fall exhausted when you fail. You light on others to feed from them for a time, and move on with no regard to them. I have watched you come here and listen to your words, and watched you move away no wiser. Will you learn from your mistake, Seeker? Who are you? I am O. For some reason, when he speaks his name, it sounds like he's speaking of much more than a single letter, as if the speaking of his name contained untold possibilities and nuances. No human tongue could ever create such a sound. What are you? It is my name. It is the name of a portion of eternity. I am a letter in the divine alphabet. Understanding me leads to understanding existence. I am written the true names of half of everything. My being encompasses truth. I am mathematic, organic, metaphysic. So what does that mean? The divine alphabet is writ in the name of everything that exists, from the seed at the hearts of the elemental planes to the core of the great beyond. My brothers and sisters, a single word translates into the two in your mind, and I reach across all that is, was, or ever shall be. We are thought and reality and concept and the unimaginable. So what are you doing here? Why, I am watching the ebb and flow of mortality. And what do you see? Immortals are like wasps. You build your lives' nests from the slimmest of branches, and when the wind shakes your home life free, you seek to sting the wind to death. Instead of realizing your foolish mistakes, attempting to repair the damage you have caused yourselves, and learning from your experience, you bring harm to any who have the misfortune to blunder near you in your time of pain and distress. My advice to you, and to all mortals, stop acting like an insect and start acting sentient. I'll think about that. In the meantime, answer some more questions for me. Tell me about yourself. What sort of name is that? Yeah, we already read all that. What does that mean? Tell me about the great beyond. You would not understand. No mortal possibly could. It is beyond the powers of comprehension of all but the most powerful with powers, and once they understand, they move beyond the veil of mortal comprehension. I can explain it no more than that. Perhaps sometime you will understand. Some of the patrons of this tavern? The patrons of this place are varied, yet all mortal. Like all mortals, their concerns are limited with the potential of blossoming into actual truth. I can tell you this, though. You may find a companion dear to your heart here, at least as dear as your heart will allow. I think I should be insulted, but I'll let that slip. Answer another question, will you? So I think he's talking about Dak'kon.
All right.
As the companion close to my heart. Anyway, let's talk to the Mercy Killer. You see a lad who barely looks a day over 18. His face seems to betray some tension. Help you, Cutter? Who are you? I am Caleb. I am a Mercy Killer. I'm here with Tarner and Illidan to catch my first criminal. What can you tell me about the Mercy Killers? Well, I have to get used to saying that now, believe that justice is the most important thing in existence. I believe that without justice, there is no meaning, and without meaning, we might as well just go off and kill ourselves. I don't want to kill myself, so I decided justice is the meaning. If you want to know more, you ought to ask one of these other two, or find one of our recruiters. They'll talk your ear off. Alright, answer me some questions first, will you? Who are your friends here? They're the people who are here to make sure I don't foul up this assignment. Tarner's the older one. Illidan's the one who's here to make sure I do the job right and to give me support, if I need it. He swallows noisily. I hope I won't. He'll be fine, I'm sure. Let's see. What are you doing? Well, seeing as I'm a new Mercy Killer, I'm supposed to bring a criminal to justice to show I can handle the field work. I decided I wanted to catch a killer, so we asked around and got told he was going to be here. Still haven't seen him, though. I'm a little nervous to tell the truth. If you'll excuse me, I really ought to get looking at the faces here again. He cranes his neck and looks around the bar. Alright, well, very well. Good day. Actually, let's turn this quest to Barkus. You'll be having trouble with Makai again. Then, friend, you have full bar privileges, for free. Anything you want, anytime. It must have been a pretty big tab she ran up. You don't know the half of it. You want a drink now? Yeah, set me up. Let's do Heart Wine. He passes you a glass of Curse's famous Heart Wine. The bouquet is breathtaking, and the wine itself is full-bodied and fruity. The aftertaste leaves nothing to be desired. Made from real razor vine, that is. Wish I knew the secret. The barkeeper nods at the empty glass. You want another? No, thank you.
All right.
That's why I dropped a club on the floor. Well, let's talk to more mercy killers. An armored behemoth, this man is huge. He also seems to have a very keen eye. It misses nothing that transpires around him. It also seems that he has no interest in speaking to you. Hello. The man stares at you as if you were some sort of bug, some form of bug. He stares at you, blinking slowly. He turns his head, then dismissing you without speaking a word. Hello? Hear a subterranean rumble beginning deep in the man's chest. He lightly strokes his weapon and stares at you with renewed interest. Well, if that's the way you want to be, farewell. You see a grizzled, burly man in spiked armor. He eyes you coolly and slowly, up and down, evaluating you. He pauses for a time on your face, almost as if it jogs his memory somehow. He sighs then and says, "Can I help you with something, friend?" Who are you?" "Me? I'm Tarner." What's with the outfit?" "It's a uniform of a kind. We're the Red Death, mercy killers. We're the justice folks. Someone commits a crime, we bring him to justice. We right wrongs too. You want to know more? Go talk to one of the recruiters." Fair enough. Some questions. "Did you recognize me?" "I thought I did, but those pictures are centuries out of date, and the suspect would be dead by now. Of course, these are the planes, and stranger things have happened. Still, if you're the feller I'm thinking of, looks like you've served your sentence by means of pain." What can you tell me about this person you're talking about?" "It was a particularly brutal criminal, from what I understand. This was, of course, centuries ago. Immense strength, they said, and enough anger to tear the head from a Barriar. Not a sod to be messing with. Word is, he got himself surrounded by Red Death Patrol, escaped through a portal, and hasn't been seen since. He frowned, studying you. They have pictures of him. Took away some of the scars, and you might be related to him. Probably not him, though. Sounds like a nasty fellow. Had some questions about something else. Who are your friends here?" "They're Caleb and Ilsiden. Caleb's the new meat, a new recruit. Ilsiden's the muscle. I'm the brains." "What are you doing here?" "Waiting for a criminal. This will be eager Caleb's first arrest if the Burke we're waiting for ever shows up." "What, are you some kind of police force? Is that what your armor is? A uniform?" "Okay. And let's see. Have you ever heard of a collector by the name of Farod? I'm looking for him." "Looking for him, eh? From the tone of your voice, I'm betting it won't be a quick drink down the local tavern either. See, I know Farod of old. He's a slippery one, he is. And there'll be a time before we can pin something on him. Problem is, only a fanatic like Valord scragged the guy without even a shred of proof. That's all a long way of saying I don't know where the sod is, but you ought to know he's a suspect, and it won't do you any good to be seen with him. Thanks for the advice." Tell me about this place if you would. Alright, I'm not going to read that. Alright, so we'll talk to the Fiends and I'll call it an episode. Run a little over, but that should finish up the Smoldering Corpse Bar and its patrons. Unless I'm missing somebody, which is entirely likely. Alright, let's talk to Aethelgrin. You see a scaled fiend who looks very similar to the one standing next to him, in addition to the pierced left ears. Both are black-hued and reptilian, with bat wings tucked against themselves. This one is missing a tooth on its right side. "Ah, Tegrin," it says. "Our old friend has returned to pay us a visit." "So he has, Aethelgrin, so he has. His eyes do not gleam as once they did. What do you suppose brings him back to us?" "What does bring you back to us, friend?" "Who are you?" "Ah, Aethelgrin, time has robbed our companion's memory. You honestly do not recall us, do you? Truly, I am aggrieved. But, as I am, Tegrin, truly aggrieved. Yet I rest easy. It has, after all, been many hundreds of years, and we know how the minds of mortals tend to dissipate with age." "Ah, well spoken, old friend. Well spoken. Old friend, we are a pair of Abishai on leave from our current assignments in Baator. I am Tegrin, the thrice damned, so named for my ability to find the best in every situation. This Aethelgrin, who has earned himself no special name, though not for lack of trying." "Lack of trying? What do you mean?" Aethelgrin ignores you as it responds to its companion. "And once again, Tegrin, you have cut straight to the truth of the matter. Though perhaps it is best not to have earned the sort of notice one bearing the name Thricedan must surely have incurred. Had some other questions." Mort whispers to you, "Boss, I don't like this. They're not supposed to be here. The Blood War hasn't kicked the Celestials' butts bad enough that any fiend can go on furlough. They want something. Tread carefully." In the meantime, Tegrin continues to respond to its companion. In its turn, Tegrin ignores you as it replies to its comrade. Once again, I maintain that any notice is better than no notice at all. The Abishai turns back to you. Old friend, does this answer your question as to our identities? I suppose it will have to. Add some other questions. Some questions? Perhaps we have answers. We're certainly eager to aid you, old friend. What are you doing? What are we doing? Why is it not perfectly clear, old friend? We're on leave from our beloved assignment, taking for ourselves some much-needed rest, and perhaps inducing some additional recruitment for our glorious cause. Our superiors fully support our presence, to be sure. In a more immediate sense, we are taking our entertainment in this delightful establishment. And of course, we are celebrating the return of our old friend. However, the stench of the breezes, which occasionally waft the scent of goodness in the door, debases us somewhat, leaving us physically, mentally, and spiritually weaker. Fortunately, the air in this ward of the city carries a delicious tang of pain and supplication. Wouldn't you agree? Again, the fiend smiles proudly at you. Other questions? Tell me about fiends. As we see it, there are two kinds of fiends, those who are correct and those who are not. Our side, that of the Betezu, is correct, or Betezu. The other side, that of the cursed, hated, chaotic Tanari, is incorrect and must be exterminated. Well, the Tanari directly responsible for the Blood War. Were it not for them, we could have settled the lower planes in peace and wouldn't have all the bother fighting this wretched war, nor would the unfortunate spillovers into other planes be such a cause for concern among the namby-pambying do-gooders. The Tanari are directly to blame for the multiverse's sad fate of affairs. That's not really what I was asking. I wanted to know what differentiates you from them. The fiend pauses for a moment, and then brightens. Ah yes, you see, we represent law and order. Those who break the law must be punished. If we have no law, we have only anarchy. And surely you can see what anarchy has done for the Abyss. It has spawned horrors beyond imagining. Any excesses the Betezu state may have indulged in are simply to counter the rising tide of chaos represented by the Tanari. We mean no harm to anyone. We just prefer to understand where the boundaries are. Alright, other questions? What is this place? Alright, so I'm not sure exactly what... Alright, let's talk to Tegrin. It seems like it's different dialogue. You see a scaled fiend who looks very similar to the one standing next to him. In addition to the pierced left ears, both are black-hued and... Okay. Greetings, old comrade, because everything else is the same. No, wait, this one has a small scar under its left eye. Greetings, old comrade. 'Tis truly a joy to see you again. Again? What I mean, dear man, is that time, our old enemy, has performed a vicious disservice to you. It robs your memories and steals your recollections. If you do not recall us, why, it is because you have fallen prey to one of mortality's weaknesses. We're old friends of yours, old indeed. What can we do for you? Alright, we've already talked about all that. And actually, I'm going to talk to Dak'kon.
What is your will?
About his teachings. Can I talk to you about your teachings? Dak'kon waits. Can you teach me anything of weaponcraft, Dak'kon? Dak'kon shakes his head. I can redirect one towards the craft of war, but I cannot advance their skill. My weapons are not of steel, but of will, and knowing of the self. Very well. If I ever need to resume the fighter profession, I'll ask you. I had some other questions. Okay, so he can't turn me into a mage, but he can turn me back into a fighter afterwards. Neat. About his teachings, can you teach me anything of the art, Dak'kon? Know that I'm not a teacher in this, but know that I may serve as a guide. I do not know how humans come to be versed in the art, but when you learn the art, return and ask again. I'll ask again when I'm a mage, then. In the meantime, I had some other questions. Okay. Teachings. Other questions instead. About our travels. Something about the city of Sigil. Just know by the name Sigil. Okay. Alright.
I'm gone.
So he can teach me to be a better mage, and he can turn me back into a fighter, if need be. I thought there was someone in here that could turn me into a mage, but I guess not. Alright, regardless, I'm going to call the episode here. The next one we'll continue to explore the area surrounding like I was saying, in the next one we'll continue to explore the area surrounding
I'm gone.
the Smoldering Corpse bar. Get a tattoo parlor, which will give us some upgrades, and that area. I don't know what's in there. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope to see y'all in the next episode.